BookTube, it's Missy, and today I'm here to share with you guys my most anticipated reads for March 2021. I did start this video 2 weeks ago when I started the other videos, and I couldn't finish that video. And if you are interested in seeing inebriated Missy, then watch the end of this video for snippets or bloopers of me trying to film a video like that, because you know, there are times when you don't think you are, but you are. I know I am already in the second week of March, and that a lot of these books have already come out. But you know what? I want to share with you guys the books that I find interesting. And if you guys are interested in those books, then excellent. There are more there are more adult books this time around than YA. I think that was the case last time too. No, I think it was an even split. So there are more adults, less YA. I'm going to start with YA like I usually do. The timestamps will be down below. There will be chapters in the bar, so that way you can choose either YA or adult, whatever you're interested in reading. And if I have missed anything, like I did miss one today, which I was surprised by, please let me know and I will add it to my list. Yeah, I love books, so the more the merrier, right? Okay, so my first book that I want to talk about is called The Unexpected Peril by Deanna Raybourn. This came out on the 2nd of March. It is 336 pages. I'm so interested in page count right now, and I told you guys I want to read all of the shorter books the first half of the year. So I am giving you guys the page numbers just in case that deters you from reading a book or not. Like if you are on a journey this year where you're just going to read all the short books, then you'll be interested in a page count. If you're interested in only reading long books, again, you're going to have a page count. So this is book 6 of the Veronica Speedwell series. I did talk about another Veronica Speedwell book last month, and that was for the paperback version of book 5, I think. So this is book 6. This is coming out in hardcover. It is a historical fiction mystery with a little bit of romance, and yeah, as you can tell, it's a series because it's got 6 books in it. Let me know down below if this series is good, because I don't really know anything about it besides that the cover keeps pulling me in. Like, I really want the cover. I like that it's all in one color, and then it's got like silver detail, so it just looks all like sparkly. I don't know, but I do like historical fiction. I do like mystery, so this is right up my alley. But I don't know about the romance part. Let me know if there's like a lot of romance, or if it's just a little bit and it won't bother me. But yeah, that comes out. I'm adding it to my list to remind myself that I want to read the first one. The next book that is on this list is called The Castle School, or Troubled Girls. So, written by Alyssa B. Sheinmel. This is 400 pages, a little bit longer. And thanks, Past Missy, you told me exactly what book I was looking for. I wanted her other book, which was called A Danger to Herself and Others. This is the cover for that book. Both books are mysteries within the mental health genre, and this one, the Castle School, is in a boarding school. So that's one of my buzzwords, boarding schools. I do enjoy reading books about kids in boarding schools. So there's that one. The next book came out on the 16th of March, and that is Our Last Echoes by Kate Alice Marshall. This is 416 pages. This is a horror mystery thriller. It's about a girl's first memory of almost drowning. Okay? What she is told by her family and what she remembers are completely different. She heads to Alaska to find out. And this is a different format book, which appeals to me because I love scavenger hunts. I love, oh, what were they used to be called? That's not a sentence. What did they used to be called? Scrapbooking. I like scrapbooking. I used to scrapbook all the time back when it was like a major thing and everybody was doing it in like 2005. So different format books are always fun to me. I want to investigate. I want to look at different kinds of like materials. Is there maybe like police things or video or email or text messages? What kind of format is this book in? I don't know. But it is in a different format, and I'm super excited. Number 4, this also came out on the 16th of March, and this is called The Last Secret You'll Ever Keep. And this is by Laurie Stolarz. I told you guys last year that I was interested in reading Jane Anonymous. This is the sequel to Jane Anonymous. This is 336 pages. Jane escapes captivity in the first book, or at least she thought she did. Ooh, what does that mean? This is a mystery thriller. I'm looking forward to it. The last time I talked about Laurie Stolarz, she commented on my video saying something like, thanks for talking about my book. It always excites me when an author talks to me personally. I mean, of course, we're not going to like talk, you know, voice to voice, because that would make my brain explode. But even just a message or a DM or anything from an author, I love it. I love it. I love it. So it was nice that she said something, even though I was talking stink about her other book, which I felt really bad about. We all have our own opinions on books, and just because I don't like one book from an author doesn't mean I'm not going to like their other books. So sometimes we just want a little bit more towards a book, and I'm sure authors get that all the time. So I don't want to discourage people from stating their opinions on a book, like however harsh it is, but it is difficult to write, and I feel kind of bad for talking stink now, but it wasn't a totally bad book. I just thought it was unnecessary because there was no closure, in my opinion. All right, with that being said, those last 2 books that I talked about come out today. The next book that I want to talk about that I found today comes out today, and that is The Seventh Raven by David Elliot. Now, I read David Elliot for the first time a couple of years ago when I read the book Bull, which is a retelling of the Minotaur story in verse, but the verse is modernized. Now, it's not modern poetry, meaning that there's no rhyme to it. There's no like A, B, A, B, because those are my favorite. There is absolute rhyme, but it's more like, kind of like rapping. Like you could hear Poseidon in that book rapping. And so I loved it so, so much. So of course I bought David Elliot's other book, which is called Echoes, which is all about Joan of Arc. This one's called The Seventh Raven, and is a retelling of the Seven Swans. I think that's what the title is called. There might have been many adaptations of this same story where there's a curse on the brothers and the sister has to be the one to save them from turning into swans. There might have been one that was cranes. I don't know. This version is ravens. So there are 7 brothers. They're all named Jack. They all turn into ravens. The sister has to do something in order to fix the curse, take it off. And yeah, I really like his writing, and these books are very short. This one is only 192 pages, so I'm definitely looking forward to buying this sometime this year and reading it, because one, I like ravens. I like books with birds on them, and two, I really like this author's writing. So this is like one of the books, the only books that I read that's in verse. Like when Ellen Hopkins was like super popular back in like 2014, 2015, I never read her stuff. But this guy's awesome. All right, and then the last book that I have for the YA portion of this video is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to King of Scars, which I do own, and I haven't read yet. And this is 528 pages. That's another reason why I haven't read King of Scars or the other spin-offs of the Grisha trilogy, because they are all so stinking big. I mean, that was the only thing I ever wanted when I first had babies and I didn't have cable and internet wasn't a super huge thing yet. And I mean, you're thinking, Missy, 2005 internet wasn't super huge? No, it wasn't. It exploded after my children were born. YouTube was just barely starting, and it was only like that bite finger video where the little kid's crying, oh, whatever your name is. So I wanted the longer the book, the better, because I didn't have TV. The kids were home with me and they were small, and I wanted to escape. Not escape my children. I wanted to escape and relax, you know, because motherhood at the beginning is it's either very, very frustrating or super dull. Like, you can have the best kids ever where they don't get into cupboards. They don't play with electrical outlets. They're not trying to kill themselves 24/7. They quietly play with their toys. And there's nothing really to do, you know, besides talk to your children, and my husband worked all day. I'm going on a dang tangent, like normal. Anywho, I don't like long books anymore, because when they were children, I had a lot of free time when they were babies. We would go to the park, you know, I would read out loud to them the stories. Now, I barely have time to eat, and my children are always needing me. 24/7 they need me. So I didn't think that when they were teenagers they would need me as much as they do, but they do. Onward towards the adult books. Remember, if you know any YA books that I missed, because I probably did, somehow they were not a part of the huge list of books that I looked at for March, and I went through 200 books, and the books that wasn't, like the Seventh Raven wasn't on that list. I don't know why. So that's very annoying. But let me know if you know anything. Adult books. Let's talk about those. The first one that I want to talk about, and I have seen a lot on Instagram in the last, 2 weeks, is Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I know he's a popular Asian author, and this is also kind of like literary fiction, so I'm on the fence. Like, I like literary fiction if it's not so dry and it's not stale and like uppity. You know what I'm talking about, right? So this one is sci-fi with an artificial friend who observes a store, and she's hoping someone will buy her. It kind of reminds me of the bear. Is his name Corduroy? Where he loses a button and he just wants someone to buy him. This reminds me of that little kid story. So I've never read this author before. I do believe I own a book by him that I only purchased because he has so much hype around his stories. His writing is supposed to be really good. But this one especially sounds interesting because I do like to read about, an object that feels like it needs to be loved. So that's interesting. I can't wait. The next one that I want to read is Every Last Fear. This is by Alex Finlay, and again, this is another book that I've seen on Instagram all over the place. This is a psychological thriller, a family made infamous by a true crime documentary. I love true crime documentaries. Could you imagine being in one and then having a killer like think about you later on? A family made infamous by a true crime documentary is found dead. The surviving son needs to uncover the truth. Doesn't this book sound amazing? I just finished Don't F with Cats, and I watched that on Netflix, and I had been skipping it every single time I saw it in my, my feed on Netflix, because I'm like, I don't care about cats. Like, I like cats, but I wouldn't like go about killing cats. And this documentary, docu-series, whatever you want to call it, so interesting. This guy was crazy. Like, very, very crazy. And it's just a hard line that you're walking on, you know what I mean? Like, that docu-series was super entertaining to me. Does that make me crazy? Because I like reading about things like this, like about serial killers or killers in general. Does that make me have something wrong with myself because I enjoy being in the midst of it? I want to solve it. I want to see where it goes and how the people find the killer. It's like a puzzle, and it's so interesting. Anyway, if you haven't seen Don't F with Cats on Netflix, definitely check that one out. And if Every Last Fear sounds interesting to you, definitely pick up the book, because I know it interests me very, very, very much. That came out this month is called Later. This is by Stephen King, and it's another of the hard case files. So, I think I talked about this company before. It's two guys who wanted to revive old mysteries from like the 80s, and they asked Stephen King to kind of like write an intro to one of their books or a couple of their books, and Stephen King's like, I'll do one better. I'll actually write stories for you. So there was The Colorado Kid is a part of this series. Joyland is a part of this series, and now Later is a part of this series. And this is about a single mother and her son who has an unnatural ability. And this is 256 pages. I'm looking forward to this book because it's so short. I love Stephen King, but damn it, his longer books are getting to me. I have a stack of all of his books just sitting next to my computer, all half read. Whereas before I used to be like just devouring his books, inhaling them. Now it's hard for me to pick up his book because it's so daunting. I'm thinking, oh my God, how many hours is this going to take me? I only have 5-minute increments to sit down and read. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was just one book a month that I was reading, perfect. But I want to read like 8 books a month, and his books do not help me out in that category. There is one that came out on the 1st of March, and this is called Infinite by Brian Freeman. His name sounds very familiar. This is a sci-fi thriller. I love sci-fi if it's more manageable, if it's not like a sci-fi opera or sci-fi like heavy sci-fi. If it's just got a little bit of sci-fi in it, I like that better. It says Dylan loses his wife in a car accident. Thinks he's losing his mind. He has hypnotherapy treatment, but there's parallel universes and a doppelganger. And that sounds interesting. This is 336 pages, so very cool. Looking forward to that one. This one that I want to talk about is the book The Lamplighters, and this is by Emma Stonex, I think. This one came out on the 4th of March, and I already own 2 books with Lamplighters on it, and I kind of want to make a series of reading books with the same title and like what the huge difference is. So stay tuned for that. But this one is about 3 lighthouse workers that vanish from a remote lighthouse. The inner door is locked, and there hasn't been a storm in a week. This is a historical fiction mystery. If you haven't seen the movie The Lighthouse, starring Robert Pattinson and my favorite actor, Willem Dafoe, I mean, I love that man so much. I know people are like, ew, he's ugly, or ew, just ew. I love him. I've loved him since I saw him in oh, what was it called? It was an older movie where he was Jesus. What is it called? No. Is that, no. I'll leave the poster, the movie poster here. I've been in love with Willem Dafoe for a very, very long time. But The Lighthouse was amazing. If you like art films, it was so gorgeous. Such a weird movie. But this book by Emma Stonex, it sounds wonderful. I want to know what happened to these lighthouse workers. Why did they disappear? Where did they go? Want to read it. Want to read it. The next book that I want to talk about actually came out on the 2nd, and this is called The Babysitter, My Summers with a Serial Killer. This is a non-fiction, my friends. A non-fiction. This is written by Liza Rodman. Liza, L-I-Z-A, like Liza Minnelli, right? Liza. This is 352 pages, and this is a girl longing for love finds friendship with her babysitter, who is a vicious serial killer. Oh my god, I want to read it. Oh, I want to read it so bad. That sounds so strange, amazing. Want to, yes. Yes. All right, the next couple of books came out on the 9th of March. And the first one is Her Dark Lies by J.T. Ellison. I think I've seen this on Instagram as well. Remember to check out Jeremy Stewart. I will leave his link down below for Instagram. He gets a lot of these thriller books, reads them, reviews them, and then he chats with the author. I can't do that. I would be too embarrassed. But he interviews these authors, and that's so cool. So this is a mystery thriller. It's about a wedding on an Italian island where they find skeletal remains. And something strange is afoot. The ex-wife shows up. There's a raging storm. The power goes out. Who will be next? Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. But there's a murder. I don't want to know what happens. And that'll check another box off of my maps for Italy. So that needs to happen. Oh no, another book that came out on the 1st of March, which is called The Psychopath, A True Story by Mary Turner Thomson. This is 239 pages. It's a non-fiction true crime, and that's it. That's all I'm going to say. The Psychopath, A True Story. Last Call, A True Story of Love, Lust, and Murder in Queer New York by Elon Gree, G-R-E-E, possibly. This is 272 pages. This is another true crime nonfiction book, and this is about a serial killer who attacks the gay community. Nonfiction with my adult books because I love nonfiction so much. It's real life. Interesting. Okay. The next one is called The Poet. The Poet is actually in the kitchen. I talked about this in my book haul video for February. I talked about it in my March TBR. This book is so good. It's by Lisa Renee Jones. I am I think I only have like 50 pages left. I will be posting a review video of it all by itself sometime next week. But it's a serial killer book, a police procedural, and it's really, really good. So far, let me just kind of like give you a sneaky peeks, but there is a killer that killed a person at a poetry slam, you know what I mean? He killed the guy who was running the poetry group. And the cop that took the case suddenly disappears, and our detective, her name is Samantha Jazz, she takes over his case because he's disappeared, and now the poet is stalking her. So interesting. I'm loving it so much. The next set of books came out 3/16. The first one is The Jigsaw Man. Yeah. Reminds me of the scary movies. This is by Nadine Matheson. This is 496 pages, so it is a chunker. And it's about a serial killer and his copycat are playing a game of cat and mouse. Could you imagine having to be the police officer for a serial killer and his copycat, and they're like trying to one-up each other the whole time? That would be a nightmare. For Detective Inspector Angelica Henley, she's called to the scene. So we have another woman detective book, which I'm loving because girl power. Love it, love it, love it. And this just sounds, this sounds so good. I want to read it right now. I love all of the detective, police, procedural, thriller books. Leave me recommendations down in the comments below if you know more that you give 5 stars to, that it's flawless. Because there are books out there that is just like, oh my god, this was amazing. And book that came out on the 16th is Lolita in the Afterlife. This is by, Jenny Minton Quigley. These are essays. And actually, it's edited, I believe, by Jenny Minton Quigley. And it has a whole bunch of different authors giving their thoughts on the story of Lolita. So I read the story of Lolita by Nabokov. Did you have to do that while I was... I have a thing with lights. If you... Did I tell you the ghost story about my grandpa? It's not going to happen today. But remind me, there's a ghost story about my grandpa and lights. So I'll tell you that one day. Anywho, what am I talking about? Okay, Lolita. So I did read the book Lolita by Nabokov, and I absolutely loved it. Now, of course, the subject matter is taboo. The man, the pedophile, is gross, right? But the story itself has been redone over and over and over again. And I am very interested to see what these authors have to say on the subject. So, if you want an essay collection, there's that one. And then we have, oh no, another March 1st book. Excuse me. This one is called To Hell With It, of Sin and Sex and Chicken Wings. And Dante's entirely ridiculous, needlessly guilt-inducing inferno. These are another thing of essays. I am very interested in essays right now. So let me, you can see the cover, but it got me with Chicken Wings and Dante's internally ridiculous, needlessly guilt-inducing inferno. That's just a tongue twister. It's too long of a title. I love it so much. And I want to read it. Do I know what it's about? No. I'm assuming it's about sin, Dante's Inferno. All right. The next book that I want to talk about is called The Last House on Needless Street by Katarina Ward. I think that's how you say the name. It comes out on March 18th, so in a few days. It's 352 pages, so a mid-sized book. But this is a horror. Yay! I am so excited. This is a gothic mystery horror book about a serial killer, a stolen child, revenge, death, and an ordinary house. Now, all of these things are true, and yet they're all lies. Doesn't that sound good? I think it sounds amazing. Can't wait to read it. I tell you guys what, when I find books, I get so stinking excited. Okay, the next book comes out on the 23rd of March, and it is called The Ladies of the Secret Circus. I like reading about circuses. I didn't think that would be something that I enjoyed, but after reading The Night Circus, all circus books were in my grasp. I just wanted to read all of them. So this one is a historical fiction mystery with magical realism. It's a dark circus which requires payment through generational curses and journals. I don't know what the journals part is. There's journals on this. I don't know if this is like you read the story in journals. I don't know why I wrote that, but yeah, I think the generational curse, I think one child has to go into this dark circus every generation. I could be wrong, but I'm looking forward to this. How cool is that? The next book that comes out on the 23rd is called Every Vow You Break by Peter Swanson. I read Peter Swanson a few years ago, and it was an older book of his, and I thought it was so good. I can't think of the title right now, but now I want to read all of Peter Swanson, so that's what I'm going to do. And this one is a thriller. Instead of a wedding like the other one, this is on a honeymoon, where a weird one-night stand guy wants to mess things up. So the couple is on their honeymoon, but the lady had a one-night stand before she got married and went on her honeymoon. But this one-night stand guy finds out this information. Is he a stalker? I don't know. But he tries to mess up the honeymoon. And then we have The Lost Village. This is by Camilla Sten, S-T-E-N. Sten? Maybe? Another horror. Thank you, thank you. This is a documentary filmmaker who goes to a remote village where his entire... excuse me. The director's a woman. Her entire family on her grandmother's side disappeared. So, her entire family on her grandma's side lived at this village, and she goes to figure out what's going on. She wants to film about what happened. People who will like this book are people who like the Blair Witch Project. I saw the Blair Witch Project in theaters. That's how old I am. And I kid you not, before I went, there was like a thing on TV where they said, spoiler alert, this movie's not real. And my husband thought it was real. And I walked in going, I thought it was real at first, but then I walked in going, oh, it's not real. So I told my husband, hey, by the way, this movie isn't real, so don't get scared, because he hates scary movies, and he won't go to them. So I'm surprised I even got him to go to this movie. But the girl sitting right next to me, her head was up her boyfriend's armpit so high. Like, her head could have been in his shirt. And she was screaming and crying the whole movie. Come on now. Stop it. It's not that scary. So I'm looking forward to reading this book. Wow, my stories are just all over the place, right? So many things that's happened to me. Okay, the next book is called The Vines, and this is by Shelley Nolden. Another horror story. There were a lot in March. March is usually my favorite month, not because it's my birthday month or because it's spring finally, but because so many good books come out in March. And this is a historical fiction mystery horror about a forbidden North Brother Island. That's the place. And they house a shuttered hospital that was used for human experiments. It's not an asylum which would normally I would want to read about because that already is freaky, but human experiments are just as freaky. So yay, I'm looking forward to that one. So that is all of the books that I am looking forward to in March. I hope I have shared with you books that you either haven't heard of or are very excited to read, because seriously, I think these are pretty darn cool sounding. Update, as you can see, I have purple hair now. I used that Ex Mondo super purple hair dye. I've only washed it 3 times since I did it, so this is what it looks like after 3 washes. And this is like, this isn't even the true color, but it might be in my camera. In my viewfinder, it's a lot brighter than this. So yeah, I dyed my hair purple. I love the dark. I don't think I'll ever go blonde again. I just don't think it matches my skin tone very well. Yeah, I do, however, enjoy being able to make the colors on my hair brighter because of the bleach. So we'll see. 30 in 2 days. My kids go back to school. I am not going back to work on campus. I'm going to be working the rest of the year online, so I won't have anything change for me personally. We have put a hold on looking for houses. We decided that instead we would use our tax return and my husband's bonus that he got from his job to pay off a little bit more of our debt. So we just paid off our student loans today, finally. I don't understand how student loans can just hound you and follow you forever. Like, we're on year 16 of graduating college, and yet we couldn't pay off these dang student loans for 16 years. I mean, we've paid way more than we borrowed. I think we only borrowed like $15,000 in college, but yet we've been paying for 16 years. We've paid like $30,000 already. Where does that money go? Why can't they just stop once you've reached your max level? Like, if we borrowed 15 and we've paid 15, why are we still paying? God, I hate that. They can't expect college students to immediately get a career job and be able to pay off what they borrowed in a short amount of time. And they don't discuss what it means to borrow money. And you might be thinking, as adults watching this, Missy, how could you be so dumb to not know about interest rates and how when you pay, it doesn't go to the actual, you know, the thing that you're paying for. It's going to like the principal or what have you. I don't even know what I'm talking about because numbers don't work for me. Yeah, so we've been paying forever. And I'm hoping that we can jump back into looking for houses in April because we didn't look at all this month. The month isn't over, but whatever. I don't think we're going to look at all this month. And then at the end of the month starts the spring break, and we're going to go camping for the first time in a year. We usually go camping twice a year, and it's very sad that we can only go now. And so I will, if you guys are interested, I will vlog that experience. I want to show you the campsite. I'm really excited about it. It's called Hip Camp, and I've talked about this before. When we went to Zion, we stayed at a cow pasture right outside of Zion, and so there were cows grazing on this huge, huge piece of land, and there were a little bit of cow patties here and there, but it wasn't like right where our tent was, and there was porta potties, but you had to bring in your own water. It was very like rugged but beautiful. I absolutely loved it. And the place that we're going to is kind of like glamping. It's up in Sacramento area, so it's going to be a long drive to get there. But I'm really excited to share with you guys what it looks like, what books I'm going to be bringing. It's going to be 6 days of us just hanging out. I don't know how many hikes we'll go on. If we just kind of chill for 6 straight days on hammocks, that would be amazing. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing. I want to know all the details. I don't care what you talk to me about. We're friends here. And I feel like we haven't spoken in a really long time. So let me know down below whatever you want. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped you some. Sorry it's a little bit late. And that is it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will talk to you soon. Bye! But we're going to start with the YA books. I will leave timestamps down below and in the bar, you know, on the bottom of the video, so you can like fast forward and stuff. Stand here. So I can put the pictures there. The first one that... Start over. Okay, stop texting me, my sister. Wow, it's been 5 minutes. Okay, let's just start over. My gosh. Okay. My sister from New Zealand is texting me and I just can't get with the program. All right. So let's did I say what time when it comes out? This video is already way too long. So the first one, I already did all of that. No. Okay. No. Romance. And then I said this book is, and it's already out if you are interested in reading it, because this is a few days late when I post this video. I lied. There's another YA that comes out on the 2nd. Hold on. All right. The next, why am I shouting? Okay. The next book that I'm interested in reading, I can't remember what this author wrote before this book. I keep wanting to walk out of frame. Whoa. Okay. Start back. You've only done 2, and this. No, you're done. Let me start over.